is sort of always at the leading side of adoption. So most of the technologies that get really incubated anywhere in the world, mostly in the Silicon Valley, the adoption in India is like the fastest. Like the CIOs in India are absolutely in sync with what is happening, and they are absolutely adept at adopting it into their environment. So some of the trends that we are seeing are around how could you take most of your investments that you need to do progressively in order to be current and in order to be sort of having every device and every feature that is there in your environment in a model where you don't have to incur capex. And that is something which we are seeing in a very, very significant way. And that has to do with what is the global scenario. So if you see the global scenario, there is a softening from purchasing power of the CIOs, mostly from an Indian context, and that is because of the way the dollar has behaved, because of the uncertainties that are there in the Indian market currently because of the elections and some of those things. So the adoption from a CIO perspective, he wants the best. He wants everything that could really enable his organization to be at the leading edge of technology or whatever he's operating. And unfortunately, the CFO or the CEO is saying that, you know what, can you be variabilizing it? Can you be output or outcome centered? Can you be engaging with a very specialist organization who could be your systems integrator or a solution provider who could engage with you and say that, you know what, Mr. Customer, this is an outcome that I am going to deliver. Don't be too bothered about what devices and what products I put in till the time I am delivering the outcome. So this is a major trend that we are seeing. And most of the incubation of technology that is happening in the rest of the world, the adoption of those technologies, the CIO in India is absolutely in sync with that. And he sort of partners with a solutions provider, like I mentioned, sitting on the same side of the table and discussing outcomes which would enable his organization to be at the leading edge. So this is something which I feel is at the most important trend that I could talk about. It's important when you're engaging with a customer. In our case, the customer is at the CXO level. It is sort of anchored by the CIO in the customer organization, but you have the rest of the CXOs coming together because this is something which would sort of enable that organization to be ahead of the competition. So when we engage, I think the most important thing to keep in mind is that you can only engage if you understand the customer's business very well. So it is important that you understand which business line he is, what is his pain areas, what is that he is lagging, what is that could be done which could sort of make him excel over the industries. How can he be more efficient? How can he be having greater amount of bang of the buck that he is spending? And most importantly, can this be so aligned that he gets the outcome and he does not have to have a horrendous sort of obscene outlay of capex that he has to do and then keep on twiddling his thumb trying to see and figure out the outcome. So, we operate and we engage with the customer in what we call as the 4 quadrants. So the first quadrant is to take care of the collaboration requirements of the customer, which we call as the unified communications quadrant, when you have the voice, the telephony, the video, the convergence, the collaboration, everything sort of collapsing in this quadrant. And the second adjacent to this is the networking, where each of these things that we are talking about, collaboration, has to ride on a network. And a network, the unfortunate part of a network is that it sort of morphs into something newer and faster and something which is much more sleeker every third year. So you have to keep pace with that. So the third quadrant besides the network is, which is very paramount, is data center, virtualization, BYOD, storage, the compute, and the associated security that is important. And the fourth is where you are talking about engagement models or professional services or applications which you sort of make sure that is available to the customer on an end-to-end basis. So this is the 4 quadrant which encompasses the entire cradle to grave of a engagement from a CIO's perspective. And we have unique engagement models and unique engagement solution for each of these. Gone are the days where a CIO was a fait accompli, where he is supposed to just provide whatever the organization requires. He is becoming much more adept and much more aligned with the business objectives. So we hardly find a CIO or an engagement with a CIO which is not linked with the business. His understanding of the business has to be very intimate, otherwise he would not be able to provide what the organization requires. A customer, and in this case the CIO, he wants to have control, and that is something which we don't blame it for, because that is his business requirement. But at the same time, he would not like to be in a situation where he is staying awake, running the network, and bothering about how the next threat has to be managed, or how the next problem, that glitch that is going to be there will be solved. So there has to be a beautiful balance between his or her requirement of control vis-a-vis the objective or the outcome. And that is where a mature engagement comes through. It is an engagement model, it is a maturity model that you sort of graduate with. To expect a customer to give the full amount of the control of the network or his business is going to be asking for a little too much. But as you progress and as you are seen delivering into the SLAs or the objectives, you become an integral part of that organization, and you get started to be identified as an insider or an organization which is in line with delivering what the customer organization requires. So I think it is a journey that you have to undertake. A CIO or an organization is least bothered as to what device an employee is using. Now, there are challenges, as in any adoption, where a particular platform is supported, and Microsoft is supported, Android is not, or iOS is not, or there is some core thing that would come up is not supported. So you have to have a framework which allows to your user to come on any operating system or any framework that he would like to have. So that is something which is paramount, because you don't want to be limiting, because then it is not a BYOD. The second thing is that how do you make sure that every transaction that is happening is ensured to be secured, and that there is no pilferages of any data. So that is something which has to be taken care of. There are methods, there are traces, there are facilities by which that can be taken care of. The third is that can I give the flexibility to the user to behave as if like he is using a desktop or a PC which he earlier was using, and give him the same impression, which is basically meaning that when you are using a device which you are using for listening to music at your home, when you bring that device into your organization and you plug it in, you get authenticated, and the system recognizes you and provides you all that features and everything that you are required to discharge your business. So that is something which comes with this type of engagement. And from an adoption perspective, we are seeing that, like I shared with you, from an organization perspective, we are having a median age of around 28 or 29, and these are a whole young bunch of guys who want to be much more in control of their lives. So we decided that the medicine that we are trying to prescribe to our customer, I think it is best that we first adopt it and take these learnings that we face to our customers, and that's exactly what we did. AGC is a 100% BYOD organization. We are completely virtualized in our infrastructure. We operate at around 13 countries around the globe, and across the globe, the 2,500 employees who work for us, they are on BYOD. So we take our learnings and everything new that we encounter to our customers, and our customers really appreciate us as far as the adoption of BYOD is concerned. Essar is a very well diversified corporate. It is into oil and gas, it is into shipping, it is into construction, it is into steel or power, a whole lot of things. And I think being a part of such a large and a diversified group really has its huge benefits. Why? Because you have the ability to understand the businesses in each of these verticals almost firsthand. So I think that is something which we leverage to the fullest. Each of these businesses that Essar has, they are very independent. They have their own IT requirement, and they do have the ability to engage with us on a very arm's length basis. we sort of engage and provide solutions the way we would be doing with any other third-party customer. And I think the fact that we have been successful with a huge lot of customers in the various different fields that SR is, we are able to bring those learnings into SR, and vice versa, because SR is in that, we are able to imbibe those learnings that are there in these various CIOs of the various individual companies that SR is having, and take those learning to our customers. So that becomes a sort of a solid interchange of interaction. And I would say that we do serve a good amount of requirement from a SR standpoint. They do engage us in the areas where we bring value, but always it is at a very arm's length, and we make sure that they get more value accretion from us than they would with any other third-party provider.